Yes, sir. All right, all right, all right. Here we go again. Here we go again. What's going on, y'all? So, first and foremost, this past weekend we had the Rally for Reparations here in DC. Had to show up for that. Man, I gotta apologize to everyone who was trying to check me out because I did go live at the Rally for Reparations. And man, I gotta tell you, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. For me at least. It was a wonderful rally. We had hundreds, if not thousands, of people that showed up and showed their support. It was a beautiful thing. I went there before in 2022. I went to the first rally for reparations in DC, and then in 2022, I went to the first one. 2024, this year, I went to the second rally for reparations, and it was a beautiful event. But in live streaming, I had a lot of issues. So I had issues going from trouble with my camera. Tried to go live with my phone. The phone overheated. Once I got the phone working, I had the phone on a tripod trying to hold it steady. The tripod breaks, drops the phone breaks. Listen, I was going through it. I was going through it. I had a hard time at that rally for reparations trying to get that thing, up and running for you all. But I got to tell you, I was there, and overall, it was a beautiful event. Overall, I did enjoy the event. Although I wasn't able to really go live and record the way I wanted to, I did enjoy listening to all the speakers. Riza Islam was supposed to go the first time in 2022, but he was unable to. So it was good to see him be able to get there this year in 2024 and represent on behalf of on behalf of the Nation of Islam, because up until recently, up until literally the Rally for Reparations, I hadn't seen a lot of talk from Riza or the Nation of Islam as far as the national call, which is currently going down, people calling for reparations. I hadn't heard any support from the Nation of Islam. So it was good to see that Riza Islam was able to kind of show up and speak his mind on what's going on here. With that being said, and hold on, guys, I'm trying to record. I want to make sure that y'all are able to see me. I might be having some issues with the camera. I think I'm here. Before we get into before we get into our articles, of course, we've got to talk on the topic of hand. We've got to kind of touch on the topic at hand, which is what is the black agenda? That's the conversation tonight. Because as I was, you know, soaking in and processing everything that was being said at the rally for reparations, I did notice the urgency. I noticed that the folks who were there were talking about more than just cut the check. Right now, we're pushing reparations, and physical finances is a big part of the reparations. But a check is not necessarily the only form of reparations. Reparations will touch on a number of things. Incorporated or as a part of reparations, a crime bill, an anti a bill to protect and prevent anti-black racism, prevent prevent these race soldiers from getting immunity, state immunity for their crimes of harming, not only killing, but also harming and stealing, the theft from the black American communities, such as what we saw in Ferguson, where they have an all black town down there in Ferguson that was being heavily taxed in order the whole city was being propped up, was being kept afloat based on the taxes that were being intentionally and disproportionately targeted towards the African Americans, the black Americans, the foundation of black Americans in that era, in that area. Now, the important thing, the reason that this is so important, the urgency of things like a crime bill, protect and stop. You know how they have stop Asian hate? We need a stop black hate crime bill. We need land appropriations. Land. that federal land can be granted, just like they have quote unquote reservations for the Native Americans. Land allotments can be part of the reparation package. Land, anti crime bills, as well as direct payments will all be targeted and included as part of the reparations package. And if we do not fight for these things now, understand that if we do not come up with a tangible and concrete agenda for the black vote, a quid pro quo understanding of politics for the black vote, if we just continue to go along to get along, understand that these powers that be will utilize our lack of unity, our lack of direction, our lack of specific requests to pass their agenda, the agenda that they have for us. And right now, the agenda that they have for us is one of a cog in a wheel. A cog in a wheel. They will utilize us to prop up their militarism and their desire to conquer the world, their desires for empire, their empirical world domination dreams, hopes, and ambitions. Now, what makes me say that? What makes me say that? Let's go to this house, which recently passed, this bill, which recently passed the House. Exhibit 1. All right, let's go here. And I'm hoping that you all are able to see. I'm trying to monitor and make sure that you all are able to kind of read along with me while I go here. So hold on, because I'm seeing a black screen here. Y'all give me a thumbs up. Give me some type of indication, because I'm trying to share an article here. I'm hoping there's nothing going wrong with my visuals here. Give me a thumbs up. Give me some type of indication. Are you all able to see this right now? I've got something I'm sharing on the screen. It says House passes defense bill automatically registering men age 18 to 26 for draft. And I want to get into this article, but first, can I get a thumbs up? Y'all give me a thumbs up. Y'all give me some indication, because I want to make sure that you all are able to see me as I go through this article. And I'm trying to track this. I'm managing the live while I'm recording. So y'all, I need to make sure y'all give me some verification, because it's looking like a black screen to me, and I want to make sure you all are able to see this. Y'all bear with me. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm going to switch things up here. I want to make sure that y'all can kind of see and track, read this article with me. Hold on. Hold on. Bada bing, bada boom. Are y'all able to see this? Because I'm sharing an article here. I hope y'all aren't just looking at a black screen. I'm having some technical difficulties. It should be here. Are you all able to see this? I wish someone would give me a thumbs up or let me know if y'all are looking at a black screen or if you all are able to see. Well, I'm going to go into the article if y'all are able to see. Okay, shout out to Elisa Romero. Okay, thanks, Ms. Romero. I wanted to make sure that y'all are tracking. All right, so here we go. It says House passes defense bill automatically registering men age 18 to 26 for the draft. So this is just past the House. This is what they have. They're anticipating World War III is what they're doing. They're making sure that they've got the numbers, because right now there is a big issue as far as recruitment in the military. The military recruitment right now is very low. It's very low. They're unable to find enough physically fit men. First of all, you have to be physically fit. College age, meaning 18 to 26, is the primary age that they're looking for military aged men. They're finding there's too much of the population is overweight. They're unable to meet the height and weight, the physical training standards of the military. So automatically, due to physical fitness, a large portion of the population is already cut off. Right? And this is of military age men, age 18 to 26. A lot of people, men don't know if they're men or women these days. Men are over here on puberty blockers. Men are cutting off their genitals. They don't know if they're men or women. So you got to cut those off. So with the population going through the psychological trauma that they are, especially the youth right now in this age of digital madness, on this age of TikTok and Instagram craziness, lunacy, With so much mental anxiety, mental trauma that's going on in the population, and the outward manifestation of that being a largely obese population, military is having a hard time with recruitment. At the same time, the U.S. government continues to expand our military requirements, our military needs. We're extending ourselves as an empire. Hey, we've got to support Israel. We've got to send hundreds of billions of dollars to Israel in order to manage their campaign against the Gazan people. Hey, we got to send hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. We've got to send you. If Ukraine falls, oh no, then Russia will start expanding. We can't have that. So we got to send billions of dollars to Ukraine. What happens if China should invade Taiwan? Then we might have real troops. We might have a direct conflict where American troops have to get involved, but we're already spread thin. What if North Korea? North Korea, I just made a video about this last week. North Korea is sending hundreds of balloons filled with garbage down to South Korea. The South Korea had to fire warning shots at the North Korean troops who accidentally, quote unquote, crossed the DMZ line. Accidentally, of course, following the fact that they sent trash first and then they accidentally crossed the DMZ line. So this is what the Pentagon is looking at right now. They're looking at North Korea playing tit for tat in South Korea, threatening an invasion in South Korea. They're looking at China salivating, just saying, doing the Birdman hand rub, looking at Taiwan like this might be our opportunity. They're looking at Ukraine, saying, Ukraine, you can attack Russia directly using the weapons that we provide. You can attack Russia because if you don't, you're going to fail. You are going to fail. And that would signal to China that America is unable to use proxies to fully keep its enemies at bay. Right? So all of these countries, all of these different fronts, of course, we're still, although Joe Biden was able to, in a very sloppy way, get us out of Afghanistan, we still have a heavy presence in AFRICOM, which would be Sudan, Somalia, Yemen. Not to mention, we still have a heavy presence in Iraq and Syria. So the United States is spread very thin right now on a military front. Yet we're preparing for World War III. How can we do all of this simultaneously? Well, introducing to you the fact that House passes defense bill automatically registering men 18 to 26. They're preparing. They're preparing us. This is what they're doing. If we don't fight for our agenda, this is the agenda that they have for us. Let's read a little bit of this article. The House of Representatives passed a measure on Friday automatically registering men age 18 to 26 for selective service. Notice it says automatically. When I was a kid, a little over a decade ago, I had the right to sign up selective service by myself. And if I chose not to, hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? But no. Now they're saying, hey, forget your option. You're a conscientious objector, forget all that. We're not even going to give you the opportunity to ignore the selective service mandates. We're going to automatically sign you up. We're starting to track you automatically when you're 18, regardless of where you might live or what you might think or what your political views are, regardless of your military fitness. We're automatically keeping tabs on you so that we know, okay, this is how many people we have potentially as cannon fodder when World War III begins. It was part of the Annual Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, and let me tell you, every year since George Bush in 2003 passed the NDAA, it just gets worse and worse. It got worse under the Obama administration when he added to the NDAA that we're going to get rid of habeas corpus. Yeah, thanks a lot, Obama, for that. For that. Come on, man. Every year, every time they pass the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, it just gets worse and worse. Yeah, now thanks to Obama and the NDAA and the Patriot Act, they got rid of habeas corpus. All they have to do is label you an extremist. You have no rights as an American citizen. But this NDAA Act sets out the U.S. government's military and national security policies over the next fiscal year. This year's NDAA authorizes $895 billion in military spending every year. This is a fiscal year. In one fiscal year, the NDAA has authorized $895 billion. So when we're talking about reparations, when some people are out here talking about reparations, let me ask you, when they say, who's going to pay for that? Where can we get the money? You want my taxes to pay for reparations? I don't hear a bumbling word about the $895 billion that was just passed in military spending for 1 year. I don't hear a word about who's going to pay for that. I don't hear anything. It's silence. Nobody's even talking about it, right? But when it comes to us saying we want the money that we are owed, our ancestors that was stolen from our parents and our grandparents, we want the money, the inheritance that was stolen from us, then all of a sudden we don't know where the money's coming from. Okay, Roger. While it hasn't been invoked in over half a century, it's mandatory for all male U.S. citizens to register for the Selective Service, also known as the military draft, when they turn 18. Failure to register is classified as a felony and comes with a host of legal challenges. So before it's like, okay, because we don't have the draft, if you don't register for Selective Service, they can follow up on you, but there's no draft. So a lot of times the government just ignores it. But now they're saying we're no longer ignoring it. If you don't sign up for Selective Service at 18, forget pressing charges later. Forget trying to hold you as a felony, press felony charges against you later. We're just going to automatically do it for you. Mind you, under Joe Biden, they're doing a lot of this automatic, forget your automatic registrations. They're doing a lot of automatic registrations. For example, one thing that I'm really, as a small business owner myself, one thing that I'm really worried about is Joe Biden's tax plans. His increase in IRS agents who are saying, okay, we're going to start tracking all transactions over Cash App, PayPal, whatever have you, over $50. What? Yes, $50. Not 10,000. Not for big businesses who are prosperous. I'm talking about the little men, the startups who are just trying to get small donations to get their businesses above ground. Oh yeah, you're a small mechanic. You did an oil change for $70 in your own garage. Oh yeah, we're gonna tax that. Don't let it come out of PayPal because now automatically, uh, thanks to Joe Biden, we're gonna get a piece of that. As if the government hasn't had enough. Hasn't had enough. In contrast, Trump is saying if he gets elected, he's going to end the income tax. Uh-oh, don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on if you want to talk contrast. Listen, that might be a little off topic, but don't get me started on these contrasts when we're talking about domestic policies. You want to talk lesser of two evils? Don't get me started on the domestic policies between the Republicans and the Democrats, because if we're talking lesser of two evils, I see Joe Biden trying to tax small business owners making $50 a pop, whereas I see Donald Trump saying, hey, if your company is paying you, keep your money. I mean, hey, that sounds pretty good to me. But I digress. Let's get back into this article. Let's get back into the conversation at hand, which has to do with the military expansionism of which is bilateral, bipartisan. Both the Republicans and the Democrats are very comfortable with this military agenda. Let me be the first to tell you. Supporters of the amendment argue that it would cut down bureaucratic red tape and help U.S. citizens avoid unnecessary legal issues, which is bull. People weren't facing a lot of legal issues under the current policy. What they want is to automatically start tracking people. But I want to tell y'all how. As well as cutting down on the taxpayer dollars going towards prosecuting those cases. Again, nobody's getting prosecuted for failing to fill out selective service forms because there's not currently a draft and there hasn't been one for 50 years. Mind you, a large part of what unified the folks in the 60s, the ancestors, the black Americans, the foundational black Americans in the 60s was their unwillingness to go for the Vietnam War. That was a large part of what drove a lot of the civil rights movement. That was one point of unity between the Nation of Islam, folks like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, folks like Muhammad Ali from the Nation of Islam, representing the same views as folks like Kwame Ture and Martin Luther King, saying we're not going to support this war in Vietnam. We're not going to fight these foreign wars of aggression that are illegal. We're not going for that. These Vietnamese people never called me nigga. I don't got no problem with those folks. You're trying to send me over here for your dreams of an empire of global domination. Go play Risk if you're into global domination. We're not doing that. We're not going to support that. That was a catalyst. That was a catalyst which drove a lot of the momentum and a lot of the vigor and passion of the youth at that time to really push for civil rights in the 60s, right? Fast forward to today, black folks are starting to get on code. Black folks are starting to push for reparations. They're starting to identify a black agenda, calling for a stop anti-black racism bill, stop this qualified immunity for killer rogue race officers, right? We're starting to get our own agenda, and now when they push this World War III, that's just going to be a more fuel on the fire for folks like me saying we're not supporting these wars. We're not going for the draft. You see how it's all coming. It's all coming to play. It's all coming to play. Now it was led by Representative Chrissy Holohan, a Democrat from Pennsylvania, and passed in the House Armed Services Committee's version of the NDAA in May. The NDAA advanced through the committee in an overwhelming 57-1 vote. So this was being led by a Democrat. The Democrats here are pushing for men aged 18 to 26 to automatically be registered for selective service, meaning when World War III comes, you'll be lined up to participate in the army, in the military draft, which is soon to come. All right, that's the Democrats pushing for that. It's the Democrats pushing for automatic taxation and monitoring of folks of monetary apps such as Cash App, PayPal, etc. under Joe Biden. Oh yeah, look that up. Look that up because that's important. That might be a whole nother video for another day. By using, now this is how they plan to enforce it. By using available federal databases, the Selective Service Agency will be able to register all of the individuals required and thus help ensure that any future military draft is, oh, because they're doing it just to be fair. They just want to be fair to all the 18-year-olds who they're going to draft, who they're going to put in the military World War III draft and pluck them out of their families and their ambitions for life and put them onto a battlefield thousands of miles away against people who have really no no harm, no ill will towards Americans in particular, that are instead just defending their own lands. Crazy, crazy, it's crazy. So they're going to automatically register using federal databases. Oh yeah, you registered for selective service. They've got federal databases that's going to track all the men 18 to 26 years old. They've already got it. They've already got the federal services, federal databases. Your name is on the list. Your name is on the list already, buddy. Don't think you're hiding. Don't think you're hiding. Oh no. Oh no. They've got the databases. Now check this out. Some people have started to comment on this bill. This bill has just passed. Some people have already started to comment. One person who really we shouldn't be taking advice from for political direction. But here I think she might have a point. Here she might have a point. Let's go to Miss Cardi B and see what she has to say on this topic.
So I just read an article saying that the House just passed a bill that they're going to automatically register men from 18 to 26 for war. Okay? And all I want to say is to America, good luck with that. These you little niggas are TikTokers, baby. These motherfuckers ain't gonna fight no war. We gonna die. You gonna die. You might as well just keep motherfucking investing money in your guns, cause these new kids, you wanna send these new kids to fight these wars? The TikTok fucking hip shakers, out of your mind. This is a new America, baby. This ain't the 19 motherfucker. Nah, like seriously, you gonna draft these kids that be TikToking all day to fight them? What? Most likely what? Them Russians? Them
Mm.
motherfuckers that be fighting bears and shit,
Mm.
and motherfucking climbing mountains to go to school and whatever. I got some news for you, motherfuckers.
Hey, she's not wrong. Even a broken clock is right 2 times a day. I gotta tell you. Even a broken clock is right 2 times a day. And she's not wrong about this one. She is not wrong about this one. Over the past few decades, over the past few decades, the powers that be, truth be told, it's really being heavily pushed by the Democrats. Truth be told, now I don't like the Democrats or the Republicans, so a lot of times I just lump them in and say the powers that be and things of that nature. But truth be told, it's largely been the fault of the Democrats. The Democrats in particular have been pushing this this society of degradation, this this false narrative that we've got to accept as men that oh there's no difference between men and women. Oh, but that quickly goes out the window when we start talking about selective service. Why is it that this selective service bill that just passed the House, it doesn't include women in the automatic draft, the automatic selective service? No, but the Democrats who are pushing this automatic selective service draft are the same ones who will tell you there's no difference between men and women, right? They're the same ones that tell you, oh yeah, you can cut off your genitals and that'll make you the same as the opposite gender. The madness. The madness. They tell you, oh yeah, we're going to have open borders, but at the same time we're going to not pay the foundation of black Americans reparations, the money that is owed for their theft, but instead what we're going to do is we're going to open the borders and give billions of dollars to these foreign governments, these foreign countries such as Ukraine, and we're going to give millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to the refugees that these wars create, the asylum seekers that these foreign policies create. So abroad, they have a policy of we're going to ruin other people's countries. Then domestically, they're going to open up the country so that and institute policies that destroys from within. It's really diabolical genius is what it is. It really is. If you and part of me is like I don't know if these folks are doing this on purpose. Are they really trying to destroy the United States on purpose? Are they expanding us militarily and opening our borders to make us porous and opening to invasion because they don't know? Do they not know that this is how empires fall? Do they not know that every empire throughout history, whether it be the Egyptians, whether it be the Romans, whether it be the Chinese dynasties, do they not know that every empire has fallen thanks to over expansion militarily, as well as poor domestic policies at home and open porous borders at home? Do they not know that that's the recipe for disaster? Because it seems to me as though this is what they've grown expertise in. It seems to me that it's almost impossible for it to be a mistake. Are they really that ignorant, or are they doing this on purpose? Is my only question. That's my only question. And let me tell you something. This is not a new phenomenon. This is not a new phenomenon. I saw this clip, and I wanted to share this because this is one time we got to talk about the youth. We got to talk about the youth because as you know, this bill that just passed, the youth might not be paying attention. The folks who are between 18 and 26, they might not be paying attention to this new military draft yet. But oh, they will. Oh, they will. And one thing you don't want right now is the youth waking up to the lunacy of the powers that be, to the self-defeating policies of the powers that be, specifically the Democratic Party. But like I said, I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. I don't like either party, but I got to tell you, as far as the worser of two evils, the lesser of two evils, oh, the Democrats, I don't think it gets much worse right now. But y'all check this out. I found it interesting. Check this out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on. Hold on.
To keep your word. All right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all that the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man, you're a worm, you're afraid of us, you're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you. And if that's what you're afraid of us, then tell us that just what you're afraid of. But don't keep hiding it from us. And
Of course, that is what they're afraid of, but they can never they can never come out and say that. They can never show their weakness. Let's be realistic.
and holding this up to us, and every time we ask you for something, you give us a little bit of something, and it's all tokenism. We don't want tokenism. And there are most black men in this world that don't want charity. And yet still every time we ask you for something, you give us a little piece, a little piece. You're playing games with us. We're not children. We're big men. I've seen my father have to put up with all kinds of stuff. He was a big man. He raised a family. He went down south, and he had to go around to the back door with his wife. We're not asking for anything. We're not asking for any favors. All we want is what's ours.
All we want is what's ours. All we want is what's ours. That's what we're asking for.
Now, there are many black veterans who are coming back, and they're mad. They're angry. Do you think that they're going to sit down through this? Our fathers didn't have the knowledge that we have. They sat through it.
See, our fathers didn't have the knowledge that we had. Our fathers and our grandparents, they did the best that they could, and they did a wonderful job preparing us, preparing our current generation, the Y2K, the millennials, right? The folks who were growing up with the internet in the palm of their hands. See, our fathers, our grandparents, they didn't have that access, the access to information that we currently have. This younger generation who has access to videos like this and they can watch this, our grandparents didn't grow up 18 to 26 with the internet in their hands and they can see, hey, did the US government just pass a bill to automatically track my whereabouts and track my decision whether or not I want to sign up for selective service? See, the older generation, they didn't have that. The elder generation didn't have the people pushing reparations on the news. Well, on the news, forget that, on the internet, in their hands, in their access, day after day, year after year, screaming, pushing for it. See, in our parents' time, back in the 60s, they had one television screen, which was in not even, most of them weren't even in color. And what were they showing on the TV at that time? They showed the murder of Fred Hampton. They showed the murder of Martin Luther King. They showed the murder of Malcolm X. They showed the murder of JFK. They showed the murder of anybody who had a voice, who decided to stand on justice. Anyone who decided to stand on justice, mind you, Fred Hampton had a coalition of all. Fred Hampton was reaching out to the skinheads, to the racists, to the Hispanic community, to the black folks. Fred Hampton out there in Chicago had a rainbow coalition, the real rainbow coalition, not this LGBTQ, ABCD coalition. No, Fred Hampton in Chicago had a real coalition of blacks, white, Hispanic, all of the above. And they killed that man next to his lady in his bed while he was sleeping. Innocent man. And they show that stuff on TV. See, that's all they had to look at. Messages of discouragement. Hey, we can't push reparations right now. You know what they'll do? You know what they'll do, man? If you keep talking that radical stuff, man, you're gonna end up like Fred Hampton, man. You're gonna end up like King, man. You saw how they did JFK, man. If they can do it to the president, that's why people, even under Obama, were scared. Oh, you see what they did to JFK? You think they're gonna let you have the first black president? The elder generation was really afraid that Obama might get assassinated. That's really why you say, oh, black people were scared to stand up to Obama. Black people never wanted to say anything bad about Obama. Well, that's because they came up in a generation where people were getting killed. They came up in a generation where the police and the CIA and the FBI were committing murders of innocent, peace-loving justice seekers. People were getting murked. Not today. Today you got tons of voices. Tons of voices. Folks like Tariq Nasheed putting on the rally for reparations. Right? You got tons of voices. People shoot, like myself, with just a minuscule following. Right? But there's a grassroots, hundreds of people, thousands of people talking to their small communities, getting us all on code. Whether you like it or not, there's hundreds of us, thousands of us pushing the same message to our little piece of the pie. And we're doing it online so everyone has access to it. Everyone has access to the information. So the youth, the folks who are between 18 and 26, military age men who might not be too happy about automatically getting signed up for selective service and the upcoming World War III draft. Maybe they're not too happy about that. Maybe they're not too happy about that. Well, now they got a chance to speak on it. Older generation didn't have that. So I don't want to interrupt the brother, but I just had to, speak on that. But yes, continue, sir. Continue.
But there are other black youth that are not going to sit through it. We know about Che. We know about Fanon. We've read the books of our revolution. We've listened to Mao and his quotations. We know where we stand. We're not going to sit for it. We're asking, and if we ask and we don't get, we're prepared to stand up and take it. If I ask a man, I tell a man I am hungry. I tell him I am cold. And I ask him to do something about my condition. And this man holds a loaf of bread right in front of me so I can see it. And I keep asking him, I'm begging him to please give me a slice of the loaf of bread. I am hungry. Then it is known by every psychologist that the next step in the progression is I am going to knock him upside the head and take the bread from him. I'm not going to starve to death. All we're asking, no one wants to see blood. No one likes the smell of blood. No one wants war. Anyone who's been in war doesn't want war. Everyone knows what it is to see the inside of a man's gut hanging out and see your friends die, see relatives die. No one wants to regress back to the state of mind where you have to think it's all for the cause, therefore my mother has to die, my wife has to die, my brothers and sisters have to die. No one wants that. But you're pushing us to it. You're leaving us no choice. We're asking, we're begging. The students up at Columbia, they ask. The brothers down south ask. The brothers in Latin America, the brothers in Africa, they're all asking. All they're doing is asking. Our fathers asked. Our grand.
Yeah, I want to pause that, and I'm going to let him finish. But he said something interesting there. It's not just the brothers in America. It's the brothers down there in Latin America, the brothers down there in Haiti. Shout out Haiti, and they trying to demonize the Haitian revolution that's going on today. They got that dude, they're trying to label him a cannibal, but the man is on code. The man saying, hey, we're going to unite all the gangs, we're going to control Haiti, and we're going to get back to instituting policies for us. Shout out Africa right now. We see that Julius Malema and them just lost their campaign, unfortunately, because the folks down there in South Africa don't have any type of unity. But I digress. I'm just saying this is a global phenomenon. You see the rise of the BRICS nations right now. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Now they've got the UAE and they've got Ethiopia on board with the BRICS nations. And they've got 84 countries on top of that, which are already submitting applications to get involved in the BRICS alignment, in the BRICS umbrella, right? We see that Saudi Arabia, and this is going to be another video I'm going to have to speak on. I'm going to have to make a video on this. We see that Saudi Arabia just dropped the petrodollar. What? Anyone who knows about the petrodollar? What? Saudi Arabia was the first country to really, the foundation of the petrodollar was back in the 1970s, the deal with Saudi Arabia. And now as of 2024, Saudi Arabia has dropped the petrodollar. They're no longer exclusively selling their oil in the US dollar. Meaning now that BRICS alliance, which is preparing They're not only trading their oil in rubles and RMB for China, and rubles is Russian, RMB is Chinese, but now they're saying that they're going to institute a gold-backed currency. Huh? You're telling me Saudi Arabia has already dropped the US dollar as its exclusive petrodollar, as its exclusive currency for selling and buying, trading in oil? Saudi Arabia has already dropped it, and now the BRICS nations are instituting a gold-backed currency? And you think that these things aren't related to the House under the Democratic president signing up, passing legislation to automatically enlist or sign up the youth from 18 to 26 for war? No, war is coming, man. War is on the way. Winter is coming. I'm telling my folks, prepare. Prepare. And the youth are going to wake up in the not too distant future. In the not too distant future. And I would say, us as, I don't want to say elders, because I'm not an elder, I'm still a young man myself. But I would say that the elders amongst us, those with some direction, those with some vision of the future, who can see what's coming down the pike, it might be beneficial for us to start speaking up, start waking up the youth, start telling them what's to come, and give them some alternatives, give them some things that they might want to push, some alternative. What is the black agenda? What is the black agenda? Because if we don't have one, trust and believe they have one for us. They have one for us. Okay, and mind you, I signed up for the army when I was what, 19. So I'm speaking from experience. I'm not someone that's saying, oh yeah, I dodged the draft. No, I signed up. I raised my hand. I took the oath and did all of that stuff too. So I'm not saying this is a coward, someone who doesn't qualify. No, I'm saying that all those folks, there's a lot of folks in the youth who are between 18 and 26 who do not qualify, who would not qualify and would not volunteer. And that's the reason for this bill. That's the reason for what? House passing defense bill automatically registering 18 to 26 for drafts. That's the reason. Because there's a lot of the youth right now who are looking for an alternative agenda. They're living lives of excess, meaning they are physically obese. They lack discipline as far as what they're putting into their bodies. They're living lives of confusion. They've been lied to their whole life. Adults telling them that they can change their gender at will. All they got to do is cut off their genitals. Yeah, well, that way of thinking isn't going to help you get out of this 18 to 26 automatic registration. You better tell them real quick that you've decided that you're not a man. Because as soon as you hit 18, you're automatically being registered, men. Men, if what is a man? I guess is going to be the next question. What is a man, right? The government will tell you what a man is. Just wait on World War III. Let's finish out what this brother has to say, and then we'll give some closing thoughts. Bada bing, bada boom.
The presidents of our universities, our colleges had to go to your back doors to beg that their children be given just enough money so that they could be taught something to live off. And yet still they asked, and you refused to give them anything. Now, we're just about out of patience. We're not going to ask anymore. The news media says that it's only the young that are militant, only the young that want this and want that. Okay, but we're 40% of the black population now.
Message.
Or we were a year ago, and still yet we're climbing. Before long, we'll be 50%, 55%, and we'll have the command. But we're not going to take it. We're not going to take sitting in rotten parks and in places that just aren't fit for living. We're not going to take it. There's a limit to a man's patience, and everyone knows that God, Christ, heaven, everyone knows that what we're asking is not $1 million. What we're asking for is humanity. We're asking to be allowed to live like human beings. And God, you tell us that this is too much to ask. You're sick. You're definitely sick. How can you tell me that it's too much to ask to be a human being?
Well, hey, you told him it was too much to ask, so guess what? The demands just doubled. Now, yeah, now let's revisit that request for $1 million, cause yeah, they were asking, they were asking, but that generation is past now. That generation is past now. Now it's the youth, and the youth are saying, "Oh, forget that, forget that." They were asking, they were asking. We're not asking. We're not asking. Shout out, shout out to Tariq Nasheed and the Rally for Reparations 2024. That was a good event, guys. I got to go. I did attend the event, and I apologize. I tried to go live on that event. We did have some technical difficulties there, but I enjoyed myself while I was there. You know, got to see the brother Rizza Islam speak. Got to see Big Daddy Kane. We get, it was a really nice situation out there. Shout out one time my boy Mitch Sledge, longtime supporter of the channel, says military was at lows and couldn't function properly, so they did the only move possible, which was forcing the issue. That's right. That's right. The recruitment is very low right now. They're having trouble. They're having trouble getting the youth because a large segment of the youth does not qualify for military service. They don't meet the height and weight. There's a large segment of the population which is physically obese. They do not qualify. They are not able physically to meet the bare standards, the bare minimum standards of military fitness. So what they have to do, they have a shrinking pool to draw from people who would even volunteer. Right now that we have an all volunteer force. Everyone who's in the military today is in the military by choice. I chose to sign up for the military. I was not drafted. I was not forced. But what I'm saying is in the not too distant future, the Democratic Party specifically here in this particular situation is preparing for World War III. Right now, they're preparing for the upcoming conflicts, which will occur if and when China decides to invade Taiwan, if and when North Korea decides to invade South Korea, if and when tactical nuclear weapons are used in Ukraine or another NATO ally. Because, mind you, the green light that Biden just gave to Ukraine to use US provided weapons to directly hit Russia on Russian soil, that will not go unanswered. It's not a coincidence that Russia is sending their submarines to Cuba. Anyone who knows about the Cuban Missile Crisis, hello, hello. There's a lot of things going on right now on the international front, which the powers that be are preparing for worst case scenarios. So that's what this is about. That's why the House is passing defense bills automatically registering men from 18 to 26. That's what that's about. They're preparing for these conflicts to go up. It's about to get hot, right? It's about to get hot, and there's a large and legitimate fear that the youth, the American youth, which has just spent its last 18 to 26 years, meaning this is the folks who were born before Y2K, right? This is the folks who were born in the year 2000, right? These are the folks, not the 80s babies. When I was growing up, they were shouting out the 80s babies. Then when I was growing up, we started having the 90s babies. Now they're shouting Y2K. They're shouting out all the folks who were born after the year 2000. And that segment of the population grew up in a time where gay marriage was legal. They grew up in a time where children were able to take hormone blockers and not tell their parents, and the teachers would give it to them. They grew up in a time where obesity was cool. They had obese supermodels on the cover of Sports Illustrated. They had men, Olympic athlete men, on the cover of Women's Digest, huh? Woman of the Year. They grew up in a different time. They grew up in a time they're they're not our ancestors. What do they say? Strong men make soft times make weak men, and weak men make hard times, right? Yeah, well, we've got this 18 to 26 group. Let me tell you, let me tell you, that's who we got representing us in World War III. All right, right? Now, as always, guys, this is a sponsored video, so I gotta give a salute and shout out to the sponsors of today's video. I always shout out my commenters. Shout out to Hot Sizzle. Yo, I like that name, Hot Sizzle. Shout out to Hot Sizzle. My man is just simple. Thanks, brother. Hey, man, salute to you, bro. Hey, man, I'm just doing the best I can, man. All honor and glory be to the Most High. I'm just trying to do my part to wake up the youth and tell them what's to come. Tell them, hey, maybe it will be a good idea to prepare our families. Maybe it will be a good idea to, stack up on some extra beans and bullets this weekend, just in case, just to have it. Just keep it in the basement. We're just gonna keep it, just in case the worst shall occur. Not saying that it's inevitable, but it would be nice. It would be nice to have, right? Right. All right, and I got to get this up for y'all guys. Hold on, y'all bear with me. We want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, which is our sickle cell PSA. A sickle cell PSA. Unfortunately, sickle cell anemia primarily affects us foundational Black Americans. My brother being one of them. So it's important that we educate folks on ways to prevent the negative effects of this very deadly disease, this very painful chronic illness. All right, so check out this word from our sponsors.
I hate doing these jumping jacks. My ladies bounce around and it hurts.
Right? It's so hard getting a good sports bra that fits our larger sizes. You know what I mean? And they're so expensive once you do find them.
And it's no secret that our breasts are 40% larger than white women's. Jumping jacks are not a Black woman's friend.
You got that right. But at least low impact aerobics is really good for your body and it's good for your joints. And you don't have to get our hair wet.
Incorporating water aerobics into the comprehensive treatment plans for sickle cell patients can be highly beneficial. It enhances crucial blood metrics and life quality, mitigates depression, and bolsters social bonds. Tailored exercise strategies and support solutions to the physiological and financial realities of African American women with sickle cell will improve their comfort during physical activities and enhance their overall care in the management of sickle cell disease.
Boom! So that was yet another shout out to the actresses, everyone involved, the lovely actresses, and everyone involved in the making of our sickle cell PSAs. I really appreciate, the sickle cell PSA sponsorship. So shout out to our sponsors. We're trying to wake up folks who are suffering or whose family members might be suffering from sickle cell, kind of educate y'all as far as the need to stay physically active, physically fit, things such as, low intensity workouts, swimming, for example, swimming, yoga. I remember my brother died last year, but last year, 2023. But in 2022, I had him living with me for, I'd say, a little over 6 months. And I was trying to encourage him to get into yoga. I had him doing chair yoga because he had really bad hips. He had sickle cell. He was in his 40s. And, the sickle cell had really did a lot of grinding on his cartilage. So he needed a hip replacement. And I was getting him involved in doing yoga and low intensity exercises. And I think it really made a difference in his last, in his last days. just staying active. He really enjoyed it. He felt as though it was something that he could manage. It was something that he could do, and he could feel. He felt it made him at least temporarily feel better. I'm not saying it's a cure all. Of course, it's management. All it is pain management. Right now, they don't yet have a cure for sickle cell. Although, as I reported on this channel, they do have a new treatment, which is for the first time being given to a black boy here in Washington, D.C., a black teenager here in Washington, D.C. And they believe that this might be a cure for sickle cell. And the first patient to ever be approved to undergo this treatment is here in Washington, D.C. He was just approved this year in 2024. They're saying that if it is successful, it would be a cure to sickle cell, and they've already got quotas for each year. I think they said that they'll be able to they'll be able to to help out about 75 people a year through that treatment. It's a very expensive treatment, but we're all hoping that we have hear some good results and get some good feedback from that sickle cell treatment. So yeah, so on this channel, we're just trying to push that message, make sure that we keep that ailment in the forefront of people's minds, because there's not a lot of shine being given to people who suffer from sickle cell. When folks talk about, oh, those black folks, they're just they're on government assistance, and I'm like, all right, well, some people actually need that. My brother has sickle cell, and my brother was on government assistance, and he needed that. He needed that. It wasn't because, oh, he's just lazy and he can't keep a job. You try to keep a job when you're in the hospital every other week. It's not that easy. And as sickle cell primarily in the 90 percentile only and exclusively affects black people, specifically foundational black Americans, I mean, people making jokes about that type of thing, I don't take too kindly to that. People are, oh, you black people, y'all are just lazy taking up government welfare. Look, I'm healthy. I'm healthy. I've got a business, and I'm employed, gainfully employed. I'm happy with my life. My brother wasn't so lucky. My brother had sickle cell anemia, and some people, such as my brother, need assistance. And I don't like how black folks get the face of that. But I digress. I digress. Hey guys, shout out. Oh, let me go through these comments. I always get to my comments before I leave out. One more time, salute to my boy Hoss Sizzle. He says salute, and he's definitely passing on the message. Praise God, praise the Most High. Shout out to Mitch Sledge. My boy says, that's amazing. Hope it works. Yeah, man. Yeah. So I'm really excited to hear that news about the sickle cell treatment. I'm hoping we get some good results. And I'll definitely keep everyone on this channel updated as far as any updates or any news to be print on that topic. As always, guys, you can check out the sickle cell PSA as a standalone video. I will be uploading that into a playlist bucket. The playlist is called Sickle Cell PSA. So if you wanted to go back and check out any of these sickle cell PSAs that I've put out over the past few weeks and months, you can check out that playlist. I appreciate everyone who's supporting the channel by hitting the thumbs up button. It boosts us in the algorithm, and it's free. So be sure to hit the thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, be sure to smash the subscribe button. I can see there's some foolery going on with my analytics right now. It's saying that over 94% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. So y'all do me a favor, be sure to double check. Make sure that you're subscribed if you're watching the channel. If you enjoy the content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and come on back for more. I'm talking about a large range of topics. It's not just all, news. It's not just all politics. We're also talking about hip hop. We're talking about current events. We're talking about music. We're talking about sports. We're talking about a large range of topics. If you like it, we love it. We're happy to have you. Drop a comment. We read all our comments in the live chat, so y'all be sure to get involved, get active in the comments section. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.